booktube, Tamara here, and this is the second time I'm filming this because the first time I went back to edit it and there was so much lipstick on my teeth that it looked like I had taken a bite out of the Kool-Aid Man. It was a mess. It's Valentine's Day weekend, so I'm wearing this lacy number and this lipstick that tells me that I am ready to do this. Yes. I had said that I wanted to start uploading more videos where I talk about the books I've read, and I realized that I haven't really done that so far this year. So let's fix that. And I thought that the perfect way to do that would be to talk about the romances that I've read so far in 2016. So that if you want to snuggle up with a book this weekend, here's what I think of 9 books, because I've read 14 so far this year and 9 of them are romances. You have your mix of contemporary, historical, and one YA. Also, just a note, I read a lot of books by Jill Shalvis. Speaking of Jill Shalvis, the first book that we have is Still the One, which is from her Animal Magnetism series, book number 6. Darcy Stone is a very strong female character with this wild streak. She does not want to be stopped, told what to do, or put in a freaking corner. She was in a pretty serious car accident and she has been rehabbing and working on being mobile, and she is able to walk now, and she's able to walk often without a cane, but she still needs that assistance and she still has mobility issues. She works with AJ Colton, and he was the one who has helped her to get where she is today in terms of recovery. He owns the physical therapy rehab center and she works for him, and he asked her to help him by going with him to this weekend event to talk to potential investors. I really like Darcy's character. She is very strong-willed. She doesn't want her disability to define her or to hold her back at all. But AJ, he's a character that is definitely about saving people. And I felt like she didn't need to be saved as much as she needed assistance, maybe. But I did like their romance, and I do like this series, and I gave this book 4 stars. Next is 9 Rules to Break When You're Romancing a Rake. This is book 1 from the Love by Number series by Sarah McLean. This is an historical romance. Lady Calpurnia Howard, what a name, right? And she kind of hates her first name. But Lady Calpurnia, she has been put on the shelf. I think she's 20 or 22 or something. And she is seen as being out of the marrying age. She sits to the sidelines with all of these spinsters watching as everyone else dances, and this has been her life for a very long time. Her younger sister, is getting married, and she overhears her sister talking to her betrothed about her and how it's so sad that she just, doesn't live her life. This lights a fire underneath of her as she makes this list of 9 things that ladies would never do. She enlists the help of Gabriel St. John, Marquis of Ralston, and the town's renowned rogue. So of course things happen, and I really liked this book. It was really amusing to see the things that would have been so scandalous, like her trying to smoke a cheroot and such, and drinking the brandy. Oh, watching their interplay was enjoyable. He, of course, was a jerk many times. There's times I just wanted to give him a good shaking. Overall, it was a pretty good read, and I gave it 4 stars. Next on the list is A Kiss at Midnight by Eloise James, and this is her book 1 from her fairy tale series. This book is a historical romance that's a retelling of Cinderella. Kate is Cinderella, basically. She lives with her stepmother and her stepsister. Her stepsister, I can't remember, I think she was sick or something like that. She is engaged to be married. However, it's not official until the prince gives his stamp of approval. Since she's ill, the stepmother says Kate to pretend to be her sister. The prince is Prince Gabriel, and he is more of someone who wants to be an archaeologist as opposed to a prince, but he is doing his princely duty, and he is betrothed to be married to someone else who has a pretty good dowry and would be able to help him to replenish the wealth to his land. They kind of don't hit it off, they don't see eye to eye, but they still ignite sparks. I wanted to enjoy the story because Kate is she's smart and she's bookish and she thinks about things. He's very intelligent, but I don't know. There was something about their romance that I didn't enjoy reading it. So I only gave it 3 stars. If I were rating it now, I might give it 2 stars. Next is Second Chance Summer. This is again another Jill Shalvis book, and this is book 1 from her Cedar Ridge series. It's set in Cedar Ridge, Colorado, which is a resort town. Lily Danville is a beautician, and she leaves her job in a whole mess of scandal. Her friend, who still lives in Cedar Ridge, offers her a position, and she takes it because she doesn't have any other options. She does not want to be back there. There is a lot of things that had happened in Cedar Ridge that she was trying to escape, including her ex. Aidan Kincaid's family owns this resort, and he is very much a person who is all about family values, taking care of your own. And he's never truly gotten over Lily. And of course there's sparks and things happen. Sparks probably is kind of a pun because he's a firefighter. I enjoyed this book and I gave it 4 stars. Next we have Always on My Mind, which is another Jill Shalvis book, and this is book 8 in the Lucky Harbor series. Leah Sullivan is the chef du jour, and she finds herself back home at Lucky Harbor while the reality TV show, this cook-off kind of contest, more Top Chef than Chopped. So this show is running, the episodes are running while she's just gotten home, and of course she can't tell anyone how it ends. She meets up with Jack Harbour, who is her best friend, has been her best friend for all these years, and even as she's gone and traveled and done things, they've still kept really close contact. His mom is in recovery from cancer, and one day his mom was so sad and so down, so Leah tells a little white lie that she and Jack are together, and everything unfolds from there. I really like the Lucky Harbor series in general. I love the characters, I love the backdrop of the town, all the side characters that are there, and I think that with this story I probably liked it a little bit more because of the side characters, and I gave it 4 stars. Next we have Bride of a Scottish Warrior by Adrienne Rousseau. This is a historical romance starring Sir Ewan Gilroy. He has just been knighted recently during this huge battle that occurred, and he was given this fiefdom. However, there's no money in the coffers, so he needs to find a wife with an excellent dowry and hopefully with a good family name to kind of boost him up in the eyes of the king. He goes to see his friend, and he meets his friend's sister, Lady Grace, who has been recently widowed, and her brother has told her that she is able to decide whether or not she wants to get married or join the convent. She's leaning towards the convent, and Sir Ewan wants her to lean towards him. I don't know how many Scottish historical romances you have read, I have read actually quite a few, which probably is odd, and I'm not sure how that happened, but okay, cool. And often the male protagonist is very hard, and he is very unyielding, and romance isn't really what he's about. But in this book, Sir Hewan is he has a sense of humor, he's a little more lighthearted, and he's more of a romantic. And I liked that change of pace. I liked how their romance kind of played out. I gave it 4 stars. Next is the only YA contemporary romance on this list my true love gave to me. If you're unfamiliar, this is a short story collection of 12 short stories from pretty prominent YA authors, including Stephanie Perkins, Rainbow Rowell, and Laini Taylor. This is a holiday collection, and I really like that it wasn't just concentrated on Christmas. There's a winter solstice story, there of course is Christmas, there's Hanukkah, and others, and I really appreciated that. The biggest issue with the collection was that there were some short stories that felt as though they needed to have more words. They just needed more room to kind of unfurl. My favorite was The Girl Who Woke the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I think it was the last one in the book, and it was magical and fantastical, and it was beautifully written, and it gave me everything I wanted, and it was definitely the star in the book. And I gave this book 3 stars. Next is Talk Sweetly to Me by Courtney Milan. This is from her Brothers Sinister series. This is book 4.5, which is a novella. Miss Rose Sweetly is certainly a mathematical genius, and she is in love with the idea of unraveling the universe's secrets with math. And then there's Stephen Shaughnessy, who is of course a renowned rogue and the only male reporter for this feminist newspaper. Oh, how droll. He is pursuing Rose, and she is very conscious of the fact that interracial relationships are not what really happens at this time period. I think that my biggest problem with this story was that it was a novella, and I felt like it needed more room to grow. Their relationship felt like it was almost rushed. I did like the subplot of Rose's sister, who was pregnant, she's about to give birth, and the interplay between her and her doctor, which really gave insight into what was happening in that time period with race. I think that I gave this 3.5 or 4 stars. And the final book that I have to talk about today is Once in a Lifetime, which is again by Jill Shalvis, and this is from her Lucky Harbor series, book number 9. Ben McDaniels is a widower, and he's been spending the last few years of his life going overseas and working in very dangerous places, building sewage and things of that nature. Aubrey Wellington is the bad girl to his good boy. She has recently moved back to Lucky Harbor, and everyone warns Ben away from her. She accidentally ends up in an AA meeting, and she decides to take on one of the tenets of AA, which is to go to people whom you've wronged and apologize. So through this book, she is trying to do that. She's trying to redeem herself for her past mistakes. I actually found myself a little bit disappointed in this book. One of the things that I like about the Lucky Harbor series is that through the other books that led up to this one, Ben and Aubrey have kind of been having back and forth plays through these books, so it builds up your interest and you're kind of excited to see where it'll go. But I didn't feel as though it had as much oomph as I expected it to. Though I still did enjoy this read, I only gave it 3 stars. And that are the romances that I've read so far in 2016. Have you read any of these books? What kind of romances do you like? Are you a historical person? Do you enjoy the contemporary romances? How about paranormal? Let me know in the comments below because I love hearing what you have to say. Again, my name is Tamara. I talk about books and writing here. I also post a weekend editing vlog where I talk about my editing process and I show you a little bit around Honolulu. If you like this, click like so I know this is the kind of content that you enjoy. Share and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.